What's going on, guys? I'm Tommy, and I'm coming at you with another review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Hot Toys ARF Trooper and 501st Legion ATRT by Hot Toys. It has been quite a journey to get this product on this table for you to review today. Clearly, as you can see, this was too big to fit in the usual backdrop I use for most of my reviews, so you get to see a little bit more of my back wall that I use when I'm doing my reviews here. This came out, I ordered it in November of 2022, and after 2.5 years, after several shipping delays, it finally showed up on my doorstep yesterday. I am so happy to finally have this in hand, and obviously after a 2.5 year wait, I have to bust it open and do a review on it as soon as possible. I picked this up on a pre-order from Sideshow.com. Sideshow is the place I go for pretty much all of my Hot Toys orders here in the US. As far as the US goes, they are a really great resource for Hot Toys, and they have a cool reward system. That's another big reason I use them too. Taking a look at the packaging here, let's just get right into it. This is the, I guess I'll call it the standard style of packaging that gets used for a lot of premium Star Wars product. It's this black backdrop here with some gray on the sides. You get a nice promo image of the product. On the front here, there is a chrome Star Wars logo. Beneath that, you get your TMS number and your name of the set right here, and bottom right, there is a Hot Toys logo. As far as the other sides of the packaging go, everything is pretty plain. You have just like a Star Wars logo on this side on the corner, and that's pretty much mirrored on the other side of the packaging here, just on that lighter gray. You get a Star Wars logo there. On the back of the packaging, you get all your legalese. So you get your Disney sticker and, you know, all that boring stuff that no one really cares about because it's legalese. On the top of the box, you get a Star Wars logo, and then it's of course the same on the bottom of the packaging as well, just another Star Wars logo. They do keep the packaging for these pretty uniform. To my understanding, this is a Lucasfilm choice and not a Hot Toys choice to make the packaging so bland like this. But let's stop with the dilly-dally. Let's get this thing open. So the way this one works is a little bit different from your other Hot Toys. This one has a pull tab from the bottom side of the box, lifts up the front side as well, and then we'll take a look at our insert. So here's the insert that they give you. It's this really cool shot here. You have the ARF Trooper on the ATRT, but they also give you the Heavy Weapons Trooper from the Bark Speeder and Sidecar set, as well as just your standard 501st Trooper. Really cool that they kind of advertised some of the previous releases to show how they fit with this one. And of course, we'll now remove this insert, which leaves us with Le Piece Résistant, which is French means a really cool product or something like that. And here we have the ARF Trooper on the left and the ATRT on the right. If you've ever opened a Hot Toy, you know that smell that Hot Toys have, that new Hot Toy smell, and that just hit me right in the face as soon as I opened this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get this unboxed, and then we will first take a look at the ARF Trooper figure. Alright gang, here is the ARF Trooper out of the box. Now, as usual with most of my Hot Toys reviews, we're going to take a look at just this guy, head to toe. This is what he looks like, just the full appearance of him. Very similar to some previous releases of the 501st Clone Trooper. So taking a look at this guy's features here, you'll see that this is really cool. This is the first time an ARF Trooper helmet has been shown in the Hot Toys scale. It's very well done. The ARF Trooper helmet is probably one of the coolest helmet designs out of all the Republic Troopers, in my opinion. I think it's super cool. I think they've done a very good job of making a faithful representation to the animation while also making it look like it fits in with your other live action troopers. Taking a look at all the armor, this is going to be something I have to comment on for the entire suit. I love the scratching and the paint chipping on all the blue bits. I love all the dirt and grime on this guy. The armor does not have a clean spot. This guy, you can tell, has been riding his trusty ATRT steed for a while. There are these, I'm going to call them the mud flaps on the front of the helmet. This is something unique to the Phase 2 version of the ARF Trooper. These are magnetic, however, and they're very easy to remove. So all you do is just literally just pull them off. They're also very easy to reattach. You kind of just slip them up over the corner of this visor piece here, and you'll see that you'll feel the magnet kind of connect there. And then once they get themselves into place, they do keep connected connected very nicely. But yeah, you can remove it for that earlier look in the show. The first few seasons, ARF Troopers only look like this, and then later on, when the clones kind of switch over to Phase 2 armor, you see a lot more of them with these kind of textured mud flaps. And again, I love that they detailed everything underneath where the mud flaps are. If you decide to pose him up without them, they made it so there's painted detail underneath so that the rest of the figure looks uniform. Obviously, all the armor pieces on the body are, you know, independent of the body glove, which is a super cool feature that I love about Clone Troopers, especially for the Hot Toys line. Everything can be slipped right off the body glove if you want to, you know, change stuff around or customize your troopers. It makes it very easy to do so. He's got these shoulder armor pieces, which are on some elastic straps, and then the armor piece, the main carapace, looks really good as well. Taking a look, the back is nice and detailed there. It is very plain, not a lot of blue detail, but it still is very nicely detailed. You'll see over here on his right forearm, he does have his comm link, which is sculpted in there, and there is some little panel lining in there too. And then you'll see over here, he's got the same kind of design, just the deco around the wrist there. Looks really, really good. He's got his belt, which looks nice. That is a separate piece from this abdomen piece, which is a separate piece from the carapace here. Looks very, very cool. And then down here, he's got the kind of crotch armor here. This is all that look from Revenge of the Sith, where it kind of is all one connected piece, as opposed to the newer live action stuff where it's like a front piece and a back piece. Everything down here on the legs looks super cool. I did see some commentary from some people that this figure, I guess, is supposed to have a different blue stripe on the thigh armor. I really don't care. This can just be a different ARF Trooper than the one that we saw on the Umbara arc of the Clone Wars. It doesn't matter all that much to me, especially because Hot Toys literally takes creative liberty on some of their troopers anyway. So for me, it doesn't really matter. I'm building out the 501st Legion, so not every ARF Trooper has to look like the few that we saw in the Umbara arc of the Clone Wars. And then down here at the feet, you've got just lots of sculpted and painted detail. Everything looks really nice. The shoes are nice and dirty. You got some nice soles down there as well. Everything just looks great. I really, and if you've had Clone Troopers in the Hot Toys line for your collection before, you kind of know what you're getting into at this point. And I think that's part of the fun with this figure is you don't have to kind of figure out how do you want to pose the figure and figure out what its articulation is like, because we've seen this before. To cover articulation on our ARF Trooper here, we're going to take a look at the neck, which is on a barbell joint. So you have a ball joint at the top of the neck and at the base. So you can get all kinds of range out of that, which is great for a character that rides a vehicle. Look how far down he can look. Look how far up he can look. That's some really great range there. Some awesome, awesome tilt, and then some great right and left as well. The shoulders here are on a butterfly joint, so with the stretchy body glove, I think that's my favorite thing about these Clone Troopers, is that stretchy body glove. You have so much range forward and back, and then also there's a hinge and swivel there, and with the armor all being independent, that shoulder armor is going to ride up as it's supposed to. It doesn't get caught up underneath the carapace. You can get about 90 degrees on that bend there, and then he can technically swivel the shoulders a full 360 degrees. However, you're probably not going to be able to get that just due to the body glove and its limitations on stretchiness. So if it didn't have the body glove on it, it would be able to swivel a full 360 degrees. You do have a bicep swivel underneath here as well, and a double jointed elbow. What helps a lot with these figures is kind of taking that elbow armor and riding it up to the bicep or down to the forearm, and it's going to help you get a bend that's well past that 90-degree mark. Almost a very realistic bend for the human body, which is awesome. And then down here you have a hinge and swivel at the wrists as well, so you have that swivel, and then kind of whatever direction you have the peg facing is the direction that the hinge will work, so makes it very versatile. He does have a ball joint underneath here. You're not going to get a whole ton of movement out of that, and that's just due to the way that the clone armor is sculpted on here, and that's just something that's more of a design choice on Star Wars. You know, it's not very toyetic in that way, but I think they've done a good job. I know it's under there, and if you kind of move things around the right way, you can still get some good movement out of it. He's got some ball joints here at the hips, which are ratcheted, so you are going to kind of get some really nice range out of that. And then, of course, he does have a thigh swivel, which is nice and loose on mine, which I like a lot. And then he's got double jointed knees. Again, you're going to kind of want to ride that knee armor up or down, but you can see you can get past that 90-degree mark on the bend there, and if I were to move this knee armor, you could get even more bend out of that, which is great. And then of course down at the bottom here, you've got those nice deep ball joints at the ankles, so you're going to get lots of ankle pivot, even with the design of the kind of lower leg armor kind of riding down on the ankle there. You can still get some good bend out of that in pretty much any direction. Overall, again, if you have a clone trooper for the Hot Toys line, this is essentially just any of those clone troopers, you know, especially for those 501st troopers. This is essentially, you know what you're getting into with this guy. Our ARF Trooper, as most Hot Toys do, is going to come with a bunch of swappable hand options. So he kind of comes with the C gripping hands here right out of the box, obviously, because the idea is that you're just going to pop this guy out of the box and put him right on the ATRT to grip those handlebars. However, you do have some other options. First one here is going to be trigger finger hands. You do get trigger finger hands for both the left and the right. These look really good, and obviously you're going to want a character that holds a blaster to be able to hold their blaster comfortably. And then interestingly enough, none of the other hand options come in pairs. These are all unique hand options for one or the other. For the right hand, they give you a very nice splayed out hand for some nice gestures, and then they give you kind of an open idle hand for that left hand there. And then finally, for that left hand, they also give you a pointing hand or a nose picking hand, whatever you want it to be. But it's cool that they give you just some different expressions here so that you can get some basic posing with this guy with the different hand expressions. Another cool and unique feature that this figure comes with is you'll notice there's this gap on the left side of the helmet here. They do give you a couple options for that. If you don't want what I'm about to show you, you just have this basic little piece here, just slides right into place, and you can use it to kind of fill that gap on that helmet there. However, if you would like, and I think this is something that's unique to the Phase 2 ARF Trooper look, is this little antenna here. You can have this very nice metal antenna. It's got some nice give to it, and it is a very nice sturdy material for how thin it is, and it gives you another option for your ARF Trooper, which I think is super cool. Obviously, a clone trooper is going to need some weapons, so one of the weapons that he's going to come with is a DC-17 blaster pistol. I haven't yet found if there's any weapon storage for this on the figure. It's still cool that they added it, though, just as a sidearm for a character that is usually associated with a vehicle. And then, of course, they also give you the DC-15S or the DC-15A, depending on, you know, what you decide to call it. This is a really nice blaster rifle, too. We've seen this several times in the Hot Toys line, especially for these clone troopers. Cool thing about this one is that it has an adjustable stock on the blaster, which I think is a really cool feature, and it's something that I always enjoy with these Hot Toys products. And a cool accessory, obviously this is a recon trooper, so they also give you some macro binoculars with that giant one lens on one end. You get the scopes on the other end here. Look at all that detail there. There's just buttons and tons of weathering, and this really nice, I think this is a pleather strap here with actual strapping here, so you can adjust how long or short the strap is. That's a really cool feature that I like a lot. You should be able to, I would imagine what you would do is you would just slide this over one shoulder, or you could probably even have it hanging like a satchel on this guy. Very nice little accessory here for this figure, and I don't believe we've seen this with the Hot Toys clone troopers yet, so an awesome addition. And then of course there's something I always commend Hot Toys for, and that is a pair of swappable wrist pegs. If you're swapping out hands and you're being a little rough with the figure, or God forbid the figure takes a shelf dive, there is a chance that the wrist pegs might snap, so it's great that they give you a swappable pair so that you don't feel like you lost out on the hundreds of dollars you spent on this. And then of course in true Hot Toys fashion, you're also going to get a display stand with this guy. So this one is kind of the uniform look that a lot of the clone troopers come with, that Venator / Imperial Star Destroyer base, and then here you have the name of the character, Advanced Recon Force Trooper. And then of course they also give you the little crotch grabber stand. This just plugs right into your base here. You just press that together. Once you hear it kind of click into place, it's connected securely, and you can adjust this wire piece up top here if you would like to have the figure kind of kneeling or standing or what have you. It's a great option to have. When you're putting accessories in the hands for Hot Toys, I always recommend removing the hand from the body before attaching the accessory. It can just make it a lot less frustrating to kind of work the rubbery fingers of these hands around the grips of blasters or different accessories like that. As you can see, the grip on this one is very nice. And here's just a nice little basic pose with our ARF Trooper here with some cool accessories. Without further ado now, let's jump right into the ATRT. Alright guys, now I had to widen things out again because now we're going to be taking a look at the ATRT itself. So this is how it comes out of the box. This is the bulk of the vehicle. And then of course you do have some of your accessories that you have to, there's some assembly required. There is the main cannon on the front of the vehicle here. Look at all that different color. I love this like brass color up here. That looks awesome. So much cool detail there. You have your footrests, left and right foot here, which also offer some great detail, and love the weathering. Everything's very uniform. There's not a single piece of this that they like forgot to weather. There are these pieces here, which are, I'm assuming, little pieces for the inner workings of the joints and things like that. Same with these here. These have like fake hydraulics in them too, which is pretty cool. These like articulate. That's pretty cool, pretty awesome touch there. And then of course there are the antennas that go on the back of the vehicle too. These are metal and they're very, very, very malleable. As far as the ATRT goes, I mean, there's so much detail that I could show you here. If you look here at the front, it's got that classic 501 there. Obviously these are from the Umbara arc of the Clone Wars, where this specific design is from. We've seen it a couple other times in the later seasons of the Clone Wars, but that's the one I think of most. It's got that cool arrow on the front there with that cool white stripe with the blue accents. This little piece has a piece of like material under it when you first open it, and just be careful because this is a very rubbery, malleable piece. Just be wary as you're opening it. I don't think it's gonna break because it's so malleable, but just something I wanted to point out. Look at all this white and yellow paint application here on the kind of area where the guy will sit on there, and then here you can see all the controls. You have kind of a blurred out control panel, which is really, really neat how it's kind of printed on there, and then all the different colors painted on for the buttons and the control panels. Everything looks really just fantastic. And one thing I really want to show off is the feet. Look how dirty these feet are on this walker. And this is my hand with one of the feet here. Absolutely ridiculous. The foot is as big as the palm of my hand, and that's pretty cool. So I really have to give props to Hot Toys because they really knocked it out of the park with, you know, there should be heavier weathering on the feet than the rest of the vehicle, and I think that's a super cool detail. So what we're gonna do is, without further ado, we're just gonna get this thing going. So all these joints are ratcheted. So you have a ratcheted joint up here on the vehicle. There is no ratchet on this one right here, which I think makes the most sense. You don't wanna have too much here, but there is a very much tighter ratchet joint right here at the bottom. It's got a lot of different, you know, pieces there, and then the foot does also have a little bit of a ratchet there. This thing is gigantic when it stood up, and that's the biggest surprise to me, the biggest shock. I'm gonna have to back this camera up even more to show this thing off. Having now opened this behemoth, it's nothing short of a monster. This thing, I'll put the Hot Toy next to it, you know, just even without all the attachments on it and everything, I'll put the Trooper up next to him. As you can see, this thing is gigantic next to a Hot Toy. I'm so excited about this, and this was well worth the 2.5-year wait. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna connect all the remaining pieces just to kind of get the whole thing together here. So your foot pegs look like they're gonna go right up tucked underneath here. You'll see there is kind of like an inverse peg system to kind of sit these on there, and they should look just like this. They slide into place very nicely, and you'll notice that the front here is for the toe. We'll do the same for the other side of the vehicle here, and again, it's very easy. Once you get everything matched up, it just slides right into place, and that's how you get those foot pegs in. Next up, and this is obviously the most exciting piece for me to put on, is going to be the giant gun on the nose here. So you just pop this right up into place, and it will just pop. You'll feel it kind of pop into place when it gets in there. And then this malleable cord piece does also slide into a connection there, and that is very kind of difficult to get in there. I definitely would recommend connecting that tube first, but once it's in there, it's very well connected. You're not gonna have to worry about it popping out. Now for these wiring pieces here, I do have to consult the instructions which are included with the product. These do a really good job of just kind of spelling everything out for you, especially with these harder to connect pieces for the walker itself. The antennas, putting those on, you're gonna connect them to the back of the vehicle here, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the longer one, should be closer to where the rider sits. So you'll just kind of pop those into place, and again, once you feel a nice taut connection, everything's gonna look nice there. So as it would turn out, it looks like these pieces are meant to be connected when it's in the kind of sitting position here, which obviously, why would we ever do that? We're gonna be having it in the upright position. So these ones with the kind of working hydraulics here are what we're gonna use for that. These pieces, by the way, are identical. There is no left or right for these, so that's very helpful when you're putting it together as well. So what you're gonna do is this side here that has the short shorter kind of white piece here. This is going to be the side that connects to the main chassis of the vehicle. It's connected with a ball joint so that when you're posing the legs up, you can actually move it around. And once those are connected, these are going to really just help with the stability of the vehicle, and it really kind of brings everything together here. I gotta say, this review definitely takes the cake for the most camera angles I've ever had to use in one review. You'll see here, I just wanted to show some closer detail up of the chassis of the vehicle here. You'll see that you do have some handlebars which do move independently. You have these shorter ones as well as these larger ones. All four of these, like I just said, do move independently. You're gonna get a lot of cool articulation and movement out of those. Very, very nice detail here. Again, just wanted to give a little bit of a closer look at the main hull of the vehicle. And then of course the giant laser cannon down here does also swivel, and it does have a hinge that goes up and down as well. You're going to get a lot of cool movement out of this. I guess let's get the Trooper posed up, and I'll show you a final pose here with the Trooper on the vehicle in kind of an action pose. And as I'm getting it into like a mid-stride walking pose, I love how these hydraulics work. This one kind of just stretched out on its own. This one kind of crunched all on its own. I don't feel like I'm going to break it at all. It feels very sturdy, and I'm very happy, especially for how light this thing is. I'm very happy with how sturdy it feels. And here he is, guys. I'm trying my damnedest. I cannot get this dude into frame without going like 10 feet back. This thing is an absolute behemoth. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this review, because I am just ecstatic that after 2.5 years, I finally got this thing, and it's just as cool as I thought it was going to be, if not cooler. But with that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did and you're not yet subscribed, subscribe to Blitz Transmissions. I've got awesome Star Wars content coming out all the time. If you are an ARC Trooper in my Patreon or a Rancor Battalion channel member, you would have seen this review early. If you'd like to see access to early content, or for the Patreon people, if you'd like access to monthly giveaways and early content and more, make sure to check out links in my description below, as well as links to my Discord and my other social media. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll catch you for the next one, and may the Force be with you.
Breaking off. All units, fire at will. 1-2, pick your targets. Too many, Captain. Watch your stabilizer, Gold 6. Anybody cover me. I got 2 vultures on my tail. Gotta hold them here. Watch your left. I can't shake them. I'm hit. Where's our reinforcement?